Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to go over a recent article that appeared on Screen Rant, and that is going to be about Netflix hiring video game designers to create new interactive content similar to the Black Mirror Bandersnatch episode. So for those people that aren't really familiar with this, Black Mirror Bandersnatch is essentially it's a story. It's a program on Netflix that you can watch, but it's a story about a kid who's making an interactive a game at a game company, and he is you get to essentially choose make choices for him. In the specific choices in the storyline you get to make, but the only kind of half-assed part is that some of the choices lead to essentially dead ends. So they really aren't choices; they're illusions of choices. But you know, it's a step in the right direction, I think. And if Netflix is doing this to get an edge, I think it's a really good idea. Because you know, places like Hulu are not going to have stuff like this. You know, at least not for right now. You know. Amazon Prime Video, stuff like that. They're not going to have stuff like this right now, and Netflix is really kind of experimenting to try and get the edge in the market for the future, because they know that they essentially they know that you know, various Hollywood places like, you know, Disney streaming service, the Disney Plus service is going to be coming out this year. They have CBS All Access that's already out, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that are all out. But Netflix knows that they're essentially people are catching up to them. They were in the lead for a very very long time, and they're still technically in the lead, but people are starting to catch up, and they need to get that next edge. And this could very well be that next edge, is having this story-driven content, or kind of, it's basically kind of like mishmashing video games with a Netflix type of service, or a Netflix type of programming. And that is a really interesting thing to look at from a viewer's perspective. Is that you know, with that perspective, I'm actually excited about this. I have a Netflix subscription, and I haven't watched Bandersnatch. I know they also have another interactive content on there. Is they have actual Minecraft story mode, the game, which is from Telltale. And unfortunately, Telltale did wind up going under, which they were one of my favorite gaming companies. And I was really excited to try and see Wolf Among Us Season 2, which they had announced. But unfortunately, that did not happen, and they unfortunately went bankrupt. But if you want kind of an example of what Netflix is moving towards, Telltale is a very good starting off point, because they essentially made interactive television episodes. They had seasons for their games. Where, you know, you would have 4 to 5 episodes in a season, and those episodes would be, you would choose, you know, what the main character says and what the main character does, and you'd have some quick time events or stuff like that you would do. Obviously, I think if they put it on Netflix, it would be a little bit dumbed down. It would probably be something similar to just the you know, choosing major story points at first, and then maybe you'd evolve into the choosing of dialogue and stuff like that. But they're a really good place to start, and the narratives of those games are great. Especially the Walking Dead series that they did was very, very good. Wolf Among Us is my personal favorite out of the bunch. Tales from the Borderlands is another one that is really, really good. And I'm probably missing a few. The Back to the Future game they did actually was pretty good too. But here's the thing: is that people are going to come out and they're going to say that, you know, other providers are going to come out and say this is a gimmick. This is something that is made, that they're trying to sell you, and it's complete shit. And look, Bandersnatch is not perfect. I don't pretend to say that it is, because the choices, a lot of them are very hollow, in the fact that they only essentially give you one real choice. But if you are going to expand on that and you are going to make it better, that is a promising sign, and I am curious on what they will wind up doing next because I would love to see that. Um, and it could mean a lot of things for the future, especially because they have Minecraft Story Mode on there already. I'd love to see stuff like Wolf Among Us or Tales from the Borderlands or any of those other uh, properties that Telltale had go on there. That would be very interesting. I know they have a deal with Netflix based on something. I can't remember what the I can't remember exactly what the deal was about in terms of the franchise that they were developing at the time before the studio went under. But this is very interesting, and I'm curious to see where it goes. Right now, it looks promising, and I hope that Netflix adapts in the future, which they appear to be doing. And that's really what good companies do in the long run. The companies that ultimately fizzle out and die are the ones that do not adapt to newer technologies or to newer trends, and eventually they just get so old and out of date that they fizzle out and they lose money, and then eventually they go bankrupt. Netflix does not want that to happen, and it is very clear that they are competent in this way by moving forward with this. Now, if they just pump out a bunch of content that's identical to Bandersnatch in the way that they do not, so it's going to be interesting to see what Netflix does, and I'm very interested to see it. So I'll link the Screen Rant article below if you'd like to read it. I think I've covered it fairly thoroughly, but if you would like to read that, that'll be linked below. And remember, leave a comment, hit the like button, hit the bell for notifications, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?